You are live, you are live.
Good afternoon everybody, and welcome to your Sunset Safari. Now, it's been a little bit of a while since I last spoke to you. I have been wassailing around the countryside, KwaZulu-Natal, the Eastern Cape, and the lamentable economic hub of Johannesburg, which is about 600 kilometers or 450 miles, basically behind where you're sitting now, that way. It is a joy to be back in the wilderness again. Things have not changed a great deal since I've been gone, but for the fact that there is a slightly green sheen over the areas where the grass is growing, and that, I believe, is a result of some rain that you had, about 12 millimeters, which works out at about half an inch. Not a huge amount of rain, but not bad for the middle of winter. Now, if you're wondering who on earth I am, my name is James Hendry. If you're wondering what on earth you're watching something called Safari Live. We broadcast to you twice a day, 3 hours a day, from the wilds of the Greater Kruger National Park, the western fringes thereof, a little spit of land called Djuma Private Game Reserve, which is where we are now. You are live, which means, well, of course you're live, otherwise you wouldn't be watching, but we are live as well, which means that we'd love to hear from you, so please do talk to us, hashtag Safari Live or questions at wildearth.tv. We have Jean Dre on camera. There he is. Very nice thumb. Professionally done. That'll be the last compliment he gets today. And then, of course, on the other vehicle, the inimitable, irascible, and highly excitable Brent Leo Smith, being filmed by Wim Doornbraak, aka Paul Kruger. He too is back from leave as of today. So, I think that's all I'm supposed to tell you, if I remember correctly. Let's go and see if we can find some lions. Now, I believe, for those of you who were watching last night, there was a fairly astonishing sighting of a poor buffalo being killed by the Nkuhuma Pride, and so that's what we're going to go and see. Obviously, we're not going to see the kill because the buffalo died yesterday, but we will be seeing them eating it, hopefully, and also see the little cubs that I haven't seen for a little while, see how they've grown, see how many there are there. I believe there were 8 of them there yesterday, or 5 of them there yesterday, and they were hoping there were going to be 8, something like that. Anyway, we're hoping to see all of them now, which would be great, and that's basically all I have to tell you from an introduction point of view. Like I say, a very slight change, just a slight green tinge on the ground since I was last here, and that born of that little bit of rain that we had. So that's really nice to tie us over, of course, because now, as I'm sure Brent and Jamie have been saying, during the course of the last 14 days or so while I've been away, we're going into the real business end of the dry season now. August, September, October, that's the real dry season, but that little bit of rain is really going to help the grazers as we go towards those very dry times. Distressing news that we haven't managed to find any of those hyena cubs, which were born not too long ago, probably about 6 weeks ago, so I'm a bit sad they haven't been found. Right, we're going to go quite quickly off towards the eastern side of the reserve, see if we can find those lions. While we do that, go and say hello to Brent and Wiam, welcome him back from all of us, and I'll see you shortly. Let's move. And very shortly it was indeed. Brent is lurking about on the northern edges where the signal on Wendy remains, astoundingly, still fairly dodgy. One day we'll fix her, I suspect with a flamethrower. Anyway, that is how it goes. I tell you what else has changed while I have been gone, is that the elephants have been doing severe damage to the bush. Now, I don't mean that in a negative way at all. People often refer to the damage that elephants do in a negative way. It's not negative, but they certainly are changing the landscape during this very dry season. And like I said to you before I went on leave, probably 7 or 8 times, they have kind of been on winter forage all of the summer because there's been so little in the way of long green grass which they like to eat. and you can really see the difference. And just around the camp where we live, there's a beautiful fig tree, one of the very few examples of the common strangler fig around here. We've got quite a few of them on Cheetah Plains for some reason, and then as you go towards the rivers, quite a few more of them. It's been pushed over. I think not completely, it hasn't been completely destroyed. There's a mammal, Jean-Ray. Good grief, it's an impala. It's our first mammal, everybody. Our first mammal together.
I'll never forget this moment, James.
I will. Anyway, not a great impala sighting, not a top quality impala sighting. There are a couple more here, and I suppose round about now they should start. Is that? I know this is not the best off over there. They should start to show their pregnancy, of course. Most of these ewes will be pregnant, and it will be interesting to see what the recruitment is like this birthing or lambing season in November. By recruitment, of course, I mean, I think I've sat on something, hang on. By recruitment, I mean the, sorry, I've lost my earpiece, everybody. It's got attached to a piece of Velcro on my shorts. It was all very trying. By recruitment, I mean, of course, the birth. How many of them are going to give birth this year? And because of the dry season, I suspect there'll be fewer of them. And I wonder how many sort of spontaneous, what we call, it's not a very nice way of putting it, but spontaneous abortions there might be as a result of the dry season. They're all having a bit of a run now. Marvellous to see. Beautiful, Jean-Ray. That might be your top shot. Well done. Close-up of Combretum apiculatum. Right, we're now going to go back to Brent Leo Smith for the next 3.5 microseconds. I'll see you shortly.
Welcome back. As you can see, we found a sunbathing family of dwarf mongoose. It's been a bit chilly today, and they're not big fans of the cold. And so they're using that termitaria as a sunbed. Oh, there's one right next to us, Fim. He's coming closer to look at us. Down next to this other termite mound. Hello, little guy. Oh, hello. Absolutely fascinating little carnivores. Oh, a bit itchy. Now they live in family groups with a dominant pair that do all the breeding. So only the alpha male and female breed, and only the alpha female gives birth. The rest of the business, it's their job to help look after the babies. And they disperse quite similarly to wild dogs, believe it or not. So you will have a dispersal of 2 females or 2 males into different businesses of mongoose. And I say business because that's the original collective noun for a mongoose. So I'm here in the sort of northwestern corner of Djuma Private Game Reserve at the moment, and I'm just doing a double check on those leopard tracks I found this morning. So there was a young male leopard tracks. I think it could be Sindila, and I'm hoping that he decides to grace us with his presence. If not, I think I haven't been to Arathusa in a while. We might take a little trundle down there. Erin Richards would like to know, mongooses or mongoose? Mongoose, if I remember correctly. There's one mongoose, many mongoose. So we checked the Aubrey's Road hyena dens this morning. Unfortunately, no hyenas. There's the entrance to one of the dens. But I am hoping that possibly that young male leopard came this way. Now, this is the second day, or more, drive in a row, not day in a row, that we've rolled the lottery wheel on Aubrey's Road. Hopefully, this drive will be a little bit luckier than the last. Well, already has been. We've got the dwarf mongoose. Oh, some sunshine. Looks like the clouds are dissipating. Means we should have a beautiful, clear day tomorrow morning. Now we can start, as James mentioned, we're starting to see the effect of that little 12 millimeters of rain we had a few days ago, and we are starting to see a little green flush on the grass. And the only thing that flushed before the grass was the baboon's tail. And I'm pretty sure within the next 2 or 3 days, maybe even today, you never know, we might find one of them with their beautiful little lilac flowers. Now, of course, the dry season, and this is a very dry season, it does make it a little bit easier for us to spot game. So there's not so much grass cover to hide in. And there we go. There's the baboon's tail that's already sprouting. Let's just check. No flowers just yet, but they can flower pretty quickly after a little bout of rain. There we go. And so 5 days ago it just looked like little dry stumplets in the ground. Now you can see the green are coming out. A lot of the grazing species are going to be really happy for this little bit of green flush on the grass. I think in particular the wildebeest will be quite happy. You hear a mob of arrow-marked babblers babbling away, and they move through the bush. It's a bird, for those of you wondering. And remember, guys, questions at wildearth.tv or hashtag Safari Live if you'd like to ask myself or James a question. And we'll, of course, do our best to answer it. And just in case you were wondering, believe it or not, we are live in the middle of the African bush. And I'm hoping we're going to find some spotted cats this evening. Hi, Brock. Brock is asking about some birds, in particular hummingbirds, and do we have any? We don't have any hummingbirds, Brock. We do have sunbirds, which is similar, but they're a little bit more robust. I mean, they are petite, but they are a bit more robust than the hummingbirds you guys get in North America. Let me just find a picture for you quickly, Brock. And I've saw a sunbird in my garden. It's the first time I've seen it in Djuma. It's come for the flowering aloes, and it's incredibly beautiful, beautiful sunbird called scarlet-chested. There we go. So you can see, like the hummingbirds, they are nectar eaters, but they are a bit more robust, and they spend less time on the wing, and they often will perch to fly. So there we go. That's the scarlet-chested sunbird. And I'm hoping we can put him on camera one of these days. We might have to go visit Inga's to find them feeding on the aloes. Okay, so no sign of that leopard coming out there. I'm going to check back towards the gate. While I'm on my way to check this little corner of Djuma, let's go see how Commander Bond is finding being back in the bush.
We haven't seen anything, have we, Gendre?
Not at all.
It's been really distressing. But Gendre, what's that over there?
I thought I saw a putty cat.
we've just stopped right here, everybody, and there was a lion. As you came across, we saw him, and he's sitting at Buffelshoek Dam on the dam wall. Now, I believe there was a male at the kill, and I suspect quite strongly that this fellow came across here. Oh, there are lots of lions here, dozens of them. Well, 3. 2 males, 1 female. I suspect they've come for a drink after their buffalo meal, their Sunday lunch of buffalo. Oh, this is magnificent. Look at them, and they're not fast asleep. They will be soon, but they're not at the moment. Hello. How very good to see you. That's marvellous. What a way to start. Now, I of course have been totally out of the loop, so if you could help me identify who this fellow is exactly. I have been particularly bad at identifying our friends the Birminghams. I'm going to guess, and I'm more than happy to take correction, that this is Blondie. But I might be wrong, so please tell me if I'm talking nonsense. And of course also welcomed back with very similar coloured hair, of course, is Blondie the Lion, Kirsten McLennan-Smith, who agrees, she's in the final control, that this is indeed Blondie. Chandra, if you smell something a little off, it's not in fact the lions, believe it or not. It is my jersey which seems not to have dried properly and therefore smells, well, it smells a bit like dirty feet, really. We'll have to sort that out. Ugh. He's got really pretty impressive hairstyle these days, don't you, fella? So I don't know if you saw the others, but there's another male and a female just behind him. They are, of course, fast asleep in exactly the position we want to drive to go down to see where the kill is, and especially to see if there are any little cubs around. But there they are. You can see they're doing not much, which of course if a lion has just had a heavy Sunday lunch of buffalo and apple crumble afterwards, well, that's what they tend to do. But like us, they like to have a bit of a snooze. This chap really... I think the flies might be bugging him slightly as he attempts to have his snooze. He's an impressive fellow. I'm just trying to discover, I think we can probably go round them by going behind this chap. Hello Valeria, you say I'm absolutely going to melt when I see the cubbies. Well, I imagine that is probably true, and I'm looking forward to it greatly. He's really not having a good time with the flies. Now everyone, I think these guys are going to hang around here, and so I'm going to suggest what we do is move on, not because there's anything wrong with these chaps, but because I just know that there are going to be lots of vehicles getting mobile fairly soon, and I want us to have sufficient time with the cubs before we have to leave. So if it's all the same to you, I'm going to try and skirt round him and then skirt past those other two as well. We'll get Jean-André up nice and close to the other two, around eye level, and see how he reacts to that lot. And then we can come back here, of course, so I don't think they're going to go anywhere. And Emil, you want to know if this is near the Djuma waterhole? It isn't. This is near the Buffelshoek waterhole, Buffelshoek Dam. Buffelshoek Dam is just over here, and we're about, I'd say, as the crow flies, only about 2 kilometers from the Djuma waterhole, 2.5 kilometers or so, which is not many miles. Let's just see how they react here. I don't think they'll do anything. If they do, I'll just probably move on past. Ooh, this is a very scar-faced fellow. This is actually going to be quite a nice picture. Andre, will you let me know if you feel uncomfortable at all? We are very close to them, everyone. And we're almost at eye level. So I'm going to just talk a little bit more quietly. And this chap, is that the fellow that had the... It is. He's the chap who had the really bad skin infection, which seems to have cleared up quite nicely. As we always say, how remarkably resilient these animals are. This is fantastic, isn't it? Now we're only sitting about, what, 8 feet from them? And you can see them breathing because they've been eating so much. She doesn't look that full-bellied. She also doesn't appear to be lactating. So one of the few Nkuhuma lionesses that has not had babies. With her pink nose, I think she's the youngster. Again, it has been a little while. I just need to reacquaint myself with exactly what's going on here. And if you just, I'm going to ask that you have a listen. I'm going to be quiet and just see if you can hear the breathing of that big male lion. You hear him? Those huge nostrils sucking in oxygen. So Angie, you say this is Birmingham boy number 3. Now the numbers, of course, I find quite difficult to understand, but yes, I definitely recognise him from that kind of, well, flaky-skinned. I don't know how many of you watched Game of Thrones, but the kind of grey scale that he has on his belly there, that has definitely cleared up a lot. And Anne, you're in Alabama. You say the other one that we saw is not Blondie. You say it's Birmingham number 4. Now I am perfectly happy to go along with that, but I'd love you to tell me how you knew that, if you don't mind. So Anne, if you don't mind telling me how you knew that was Birmingham number 4, that would be greatly useful. It's wonderful having them at eye level, I've got to tell you. And Kat, nice to hear from you again. I almost said nice to hear your voice, but of course I didn't hear your voice, did I? Kat, you say you can never get over how close we can get to them. I've got to tell you, it does amaze me fairly consistently as well. Every so often, especially when they kind of look up and you know, your eyes meet with the lion's eyes just sort of 8 or 10 feet away, it's then that you think, oh, we're actually very close to the apex wild predator out here, other than ourselves, of course. And that is, it's quite a primal thing, that. Just look at her belly there, and I think you can see that she's also, obviously now she's covering herself because she feels embarrassed, but she too has got that kind of, that looks like the beginnings of that skin infection that this Birmingham boy number 4 seems to have recovered from. She's looking up at some vultures, everybody. That's why she's looking up. Look at her eyes. Hello, Hayley. As you're obviously watching ticks and, well, certainly you're watching a whole lot of flies flipping about this lioness. And you're saying, how come the ticks don't affect them in the same way that they affect house cats? Hayley, it's for the same reason that the ticks don't affect human beings from this area as they would if you came into this area and were bitten by ticks. It's simply because their bodies are used to the, I think it's rickettsia is what they call the bacterial disease that they give to you. And so these large wild cats, in the same way that the African wild cats and the cheetah and the leopard and all the animals out here have a natural resistance to it simply through their experience of the disease and of the parasites that they inflict. And so, if it's unlikely that you as a human being would get tick bite fever, which is what we call the disease you get from ticks out here. It's unlikely you'd get it twice from the same area. And that's why. So if you were to bring a wild cat into this, or a domestic cat into this area with all of its sort of, I don't like to say unnatural, but not wild medicine that they experience from birth, if you were to bring them into a wild area, yes, then if they get bitten by ticks, they're going to struggle. They're simply not used to it. Alright, we're going to move on. There's that grey scale that I was talking about, probably some kind of a mange. And we're going to move on just quickly because I'm just a little bit worried that everyone else is going to get mobile and then we're not going to have as long of those cubs as we might have. Well, assuming they're there. Goodbye, beautiful lions. So while I try and find where those little cubs are, let's head across to Brent Leo Smith and find out how his tracking's going.
Well, unfortunately, that male leopard we were tracking this morning has, during the day, moved into Sibambili, so hopefully he'll come back soon. Sorry, 1 second. Let's see if... Oh yeah, James has got it. And we're going to go check towards Red Dam. Tingana was found in Elephant Plains this morning, but you never know, he might have moved towards that, and none of the guys in the west are out yet, so, and hopefully he goes towards Red Dam. Red Dam seems to be a favorite spot of his. Tracks of that young male leopard. I've crossed west into Sibambili. I'll be leaving the area and crossing into Arethusa. Okay, so you never know. One of the reasons we're checking through here is also a favorite hangout of shadows. Oh, beautiful. In this light this afternoon. No, it of course land in the shade. And let's see if it pops its way into the sun. Cape glossy starling hiding. Oh no, we're not hanging around today. So this is an area that Shadow frequents, and we haven't seen Shadow and her cub for a while. Jamie was the last to see them, so it'd be really fantastic if we got to catch up with them. So, and I haven't been to Arethusa in quite a long time, so worth a little dabble around. I keep meaning to get to Arethusa Dam to see how dry it is. I always either see something or get distracted before we get there. This is a really, really productive part of Djuma along this western area here. And we're about to pop out towards Impala Plains, a large open area. And I'm waiting, hopefully we're going to find the herds of wildebeest and zebra on this new green flash shortly. Okay, here we are, Impala Plains, and there is nothing that I can see. Bump. Zip. Nada. Zilch. Apart from some grass, some trees. Okay, let's go check on Arethusa. Hi, Doodles. Doodles. I would like to see Cindy. Would love to see Sindile, and would like to know, does he still have his collar on, and when, if so, will it pop off? So yes, he does have his collar on. When his neck gets to a certain size, it'll automatically pop off. So can't give you an exact date, unfortunately. Okay, so now this is the main road. This is the boundary between Arethusa and Djuma. We fortunately can traverse both properties, so it's just a nice big road to look for tracks on. Well remembered, Julia. Now, Julia says, Brent, we forgot to answer the track quiz from yesterday with all the excitement of the lions hunting buffalo. Julia, it was a slender mongoose track. So, just perfectly preserved in that little bit of mud, a slender mongoose. Okay, now we're on Arethusa. Time to jump on the other channel, see if we can get hold of anyone. Let's just check a little bit further down here first. Get deeper in where our radio communications are better. Yeah, so James Richards wondering, on slender and white-tailed mongoose, what is the size difference in the tracks? The slender is probably half the length and half the width of a white-tailed mongoose track. Yeah, I'm just listening to the radio. Trying to get everyone's getting moving. I'm going to have to move to some higher ground before I can hear clearly. But we're nearly at Red Dam now. And Tingana really likes this area around this little drainage system that flows into Red Dam. Okay, here we go. Red Dam. No Ellies. I was hoping there might be Ellies. Was there a leopard lying above? Oh no, there's a hippopotami. A lonely hippo. You can hear the tinking of a blacksmith plover hitting his hammer. Unfortunately, no sign of Mr. Tingana. Hopefully I'll be able to get an update shortly on that. And there we go, there's the blacksmith lapwings there, and we can hear it tinking. Here we go. So that's where they get their name from, that tink, 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 tink call. Okay. Chitra would like to know, do we find a purple-rumped sunbird in the Kruger? No, I don't think we do, Chitra. I'll have to check my Africa bird book, but I'm 100%, no, maybe not, I'm 99% they don't occur in southern Africa. I will check for you, though. I think they might, if they are an African sunbird species, they might be up to the north or to the west. And how useful that I'm on the sunbirds. No, we do not get purple-rumped sunbird in southern Africa, so it must be, if it is an African species, it must be a east, west, or north African species. Okay. Wow. Time to check around the Marikani. The Marikani is this little river system that runs through Arathusa. I'm going to have to do going down here. I want to get your wonderful questions. Just give me half a second here. I think I've perfected this. Voila. Always a good place to look for leopard tracks. Well, we continue our search down the Marikani. James has managed to get into where the Nkuhumas are busy feasting on a buffalo. So let's go have a look.
Well, here we are, everyone. We did manage to scrape our way in here. There was a Birmingham boy actually disturbing the best access into the sighting, so we don't have the best view, but it's not too bad. So the third Birmingham boy over here, and there, 5 little cubs. They're all kind of lurking in the drainage line there. 3 of them in a pile, or 2 of them in a pile there. Another 2 trying to suckle to the left. Oh, that's a wonderful shot. 2 of them trying to suckle there, and then another one, a little one, there with his mum or her mum. This is just wonderful. Now I'm led to believe, Brent, here comes the other one. Brent reckons that these are not the same 3 that we found close to here, close to Buffelshoek Dam. He reckoned that these came from the area to the sort of north of Gallego Camp, that very kind of difficult area, and we all suspected that there might be lions in there. Oh, look at that. We all suspected there might be lion cubs in that area, but we couldn't get in there in a vehicle to look. We didn't see any tracks. We walked around there, didn't find anything. And so he reckons these are those ones, because they look slightly bigger. They're definitely bigger than the ones, those tiny little things we were going to view just before I went on leave. And there are vultures flying all over this place. Hundreds of them there were. There we go. And hundreds of them have now spotted this thing. And the most common question we get about vultures is normally, can they smell? Can they smell what's going on? And the answer is no, which is simply because they don't need to. There's not too much cover often over these areas, and so they can see these things. But the smell assailing my nostrils at the moment is very powerful indeed, and not very pleasant. It smells of rotting buffalo and lion dung, basically. And if ever you've had the privilege of smelling lion dung, you will know that it is well, it's just offensive. That's Amber Eyes there. And the little cubs all moving in, hoping for a suckle. It's wonderful, isn't that incredible? Now you can see beautifully here how they do cross-suckle. They all tried to have a drink from the same mum. She didn't react at all. And so whoever is lactating, whichever female happens to be lactating, she will feed them quite happily. Almost for the good of the pride, Ooh. You can hear lions coming behind us, having a fight. There we go. There's a male and a female right behind us, Gendry. I think that's obviously where the other female was. I can try and move. I'm loath to, because they're in some very thick bush. So we're not going to move. We're just going to tell you that that's where they are. I just heard them growling at each other, and I wonder... Oh, look. Goodness gracious. Oh, here, Gendry, off to the left. Here comes the other Birmingham boy, everyone. Now, the carcass is just behind this spike-thorn thicket that he's just gone behind. He's coming across to the lionesses, though.
Shall we VR?
Yep, we can VR. Everyone, we're going to put the VR on, so I'm going to present to that little ball of GoPros over there.
We're rolling.
I'm just going to give a clap. Right off to the front left, you can see a male lion. He's just marked his territory against the beautiful Tambuti bush, and he's eyeing out the 3 lionesses and the 5 cubs. Now, of course, the greatest threat a baby lion cub faces is a male lion. But because he is part of the coalition that birthed them, one of the youngsters in the pride, look at the little one coming towards. Look at this. This is so special. This is just so special. Sorry, everyone, we can't move. We're just going to wait here and see what happens. Isn't this fantastic? Now the 2 little ones approaching the male. So he might be their father, he might not be. Chances are he isn't. He's got a 1 in 5 chance of being their, 1 in 4 chance of being their father. And there he is, going right to sleep there. Isn't this unbelievable? And even though he may well not be related to them, well, he will be related because he's related to the other members of the coalition, but he may or may not be their father. But because he is part of the coalition, he's not a threat to them. And you can see how they approached him, and I think that's just wonderful to watch. And if you look above us, still lots of vultures circling through the sky. You can just see probably dots, black dots moving around. And here come the little ones to the cub, to the dad, or to the big male. I'm going to play with his mane to see how he reacts. This is always such a wonderful thing to see, because we normally, associate male lions and cubs with a very negative impression of infanticide. That little one there is going to the loo. Oh, this is very special. So, in total, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cubs, 3 lionesses, that's 8, and 1 male over here. Brilliant stuff. And now, little cub on the far left, front left, going off towards the buffalo kill. But we won't be able to see it get to the buffalo kill because we're just not in the right position. But we can try and move. We'll try and move. If this male moves, we'll try and move and get another view. Brilliant stuff. Perfect Sunday afternoon. Okay, right everyone, we finished doing our VR now. I can't move the car. I would love to have moved for you there. They didn't actually, I don't know if you saw, the GoPros were in exactly the wrong position. I don't know if you saw, but they approached him. He didn't react at all, and that's pretty normal. And now there's a little one. I don't know, can you even get a gap through there, Jean-Andre?
Yeah.
But there's a little one actually eating from the carcass. Nothing. I'm going to try and move everyone, and I also need to just try and find out how many vehicles are allowed in this sighting. Aubrey, come in. Aubrey, do you copy? Because we might have to move out. And Dave, come in, Dave. Dave, what's your position?
James, I will pull out for Dave.
Are you sure? Because I don't mind. Okay. Dave, make your way straight if you'd like to. Here comes the other male behind us, Andre, and he's bringing the females, and they're all growling. They're all growling at him and her. Cubs running all the way in front of us. They've gone up the hill. We're in a slightly precarious position here. So we're sandwiched between them. Cubs have all gone up onto the bank. They've moved. 3 lionesses, male stood up, and that's as 2 behind us started to approach. You can see this chap is not happy in front of us. And I can hear an elephant moving off to the right hand side there. Now why they've had this reaction is bizarre. That's a Birmingham boy, it's another lioness from this pride. But they were very cross. They were extremely unhappy. There's an elephant off, but that's not what they were growling at. It wasn't, sorry, it's not an elephant. The bush is breaking as the vultures jumping up and down in the trees, and they're breaking bits of branches that are falling onto the ground. Now let's see if the cubs come back. That's really bizarre behavior. I have no idea what happened there. Yeah, I can hear the cubs. I know you can hear a vehicle, but I can hear the cubs now calling. Here goes a lioness, one of the mothers, going up to see them. Maybe to retrieve them, bring them back down. So all 5 little cubs went running up the top of the bank there. There, you can hear them now, maybe. Wow, wow, wow. It's the best sound. Yeah, you might just be able to see them now on the top of the bank. There they are, thinking about coming back, and there's that call, that noise they're making is reaffirming the social bonds that they have. And just sort of kind of comforting each other and making sure that, you know, everything's okay, everything's tickety-boo within the pride. A bizarre reaction they had to that other male. I don't know why they did that. Really quite strange. I think what we should probably try and do is get around a little bit that side. Once Abel's out of the sighting, that's the vehicle you can hear, and we'll try and move around and get a view up onto the top of the bank there. And maybe we'll get those beautiful cubs in a gorgeous afternoon light. Sorry buddy, we're going to have to can that. I'm just going to have to help some people get into the sighting, and then we might have to leave. But I think we're okay. I'm just going to find out on the radio how many people are coming here. How many stations making their way to the sighting of the buffalo kill? Go ahead. Copy, how far out are you? Copy. Okay, it looks like we won't have to move out for the next little while, which is great. Let's move now, Jean-André, I think just before the other vehicle gets in here. And so maybe we'll get a view of the whole agglomeration. Anyway, our VR is off, everyone, so if you would like to resume questions, please do so. And I do apologise for the fact it's difficult to take the questions while we're doing the VR, but you're still getting the benefit of the sighting. So let's see if we can't ease our way through here and get a decent view. And try not to destroy the VR camera. Jean-André, of course, having a minor heart attack now. Not a cheap piece of equipment, is it, Jean-André? You got a nice vulture. Yeah, I think we'll just ease forward. That's a lovely hooded vulture there, everybody. Deborah, I'm going to get back to you now. Dave, the cubs have gone up onto the bank. I'm just trying to get into a position. I would go to the area behind me, and I think you'll get another view there. And then there also is another male and female just to your right hand side now. Deborah, you say that the vultures on the ground where you are in Tennessee have the disturbing habit of when they feel threatened, or when they are feeling threatened, they will they will run up to you and projectile vomit. Do the vultures here do that? I'm going to try and get as close to underneath this hooded vulture as we can, and we'll see if it projectile vomits onto Jean-André. At this stage, no projectile vomit. I'm being slightly facetious. Deborah, I've heard of that behavior. I haven't heard of it in the context of African vultures, though. Jean-André, I'm afraid that's as best I can do for you. I don't think we're going to see those cubs because they've all gone into the bushes on the top there. But you can still get the lions, can you? So it might be worth just waiting here and seeing if the little ones don't come down. Fiona, lovely question from you. Fiona, you say, is it possible for two males to father the same cubs in the same litter, or cubs in the same litter? And the answer, Fiona, is we're not really sure, to be honest. That vulture didn't projectile vomit it, but it did fly away. We don't know, Fiona. We do know, like you say, it happens with dogs. We don't know for sure whether it happens with lions or not, and we don't know if it happens with leopards. I think it's unlikely that it happens with them, mainly because when a female comes into estrus, her estrus cycle is normally monopolized by one male. So whereas a leopard will often mate with multiple males during the course of an estrus cycle, it doesn't really happen with the lions. They've gone, when that male there got up, everyone got up and started growling, and they skedaddled up to the top there, yeah. I was just explaining that to Dave from Cruise Camp in Buffelshoek. What happened? So, if you could help me again, everybody, we've had Birmingham boy number 4 and number 3, I think. Which one is this? It must be 1 or 2, I suppose. Not so, Jean-Andre.
5, isn't it?
5 is a war indeed. Just speaking of projectile vomiting, the smell, of course, from where we're sitting so close to this deceased buffalo, I'm amazed that it has rotted as fast as it has here. It's not a delightful stink. Although I suspect most of the green cloud that is assailing this particular area is probably brought on by the lion's dung rather than the actual rotting of the flesh.
And your jersey.
And my jersey. Combined, that's a very good point, Andre, combined with the stink of my jersey. One should, of course, allow these things to dry rather than putting them wet back into your cupboard. Ooh, Ruth, very nice question all the way from Gauteng, from where I drove this morning. You say, do lions have smelly urine in the same way that possibly house cats? You probably smelt house cats' urine, which is disgusting. No, not really, no. I mean, they say urine smells like buttered popcorn. I don't think it smells like that at all, but I mean, I get the idea. Lions, no, not very smelly at all. I mean, I guess it must be because that's how they mark their territory, but not to us, no. It's not like that horrible smell of domestic cat urine, which is really very unpleasant and can't get it out once you've got it. Right, well, for as long as nobody else is coming to the sighting, I think we'll probably remain here and just see if those cubs don't eventually pop down from up the bank there. We might be able to slowly make our way actually up there. Now a number of you say that this is Blondie, the Birmingham. Please, again, can you try and tell me how you know that? Because he's got a much blacker mane than the one I misidentified earlier on. Of course their manes will change colour, so I'm sure he was blonder than he is now. And now all is peace again. With the cubs, the kids are away, and so the adults can snooze. And whatever threat they felt from that other male and female has dissipated, as they too have fallen into a soporific Sunday slumber. These two vultures are smiling at each other, Gendry, engaged in a very intimate sort of probably cleaning of each other, maybe even a courtship display. Isn't that nice? There's the two hooded vultures. Look at them. That is so cool. Hello Kitty Kitty Bang Bang. Nice to hear from you again. You say, are vultures still endangered, and do they make any sounds? They are absolutely still endangered. Their numbers are plummeting. The hooded vulture not so much. The genre there. The other two lions moving now behind. Excuse me, Kitty. Yeah, Kitty, the situation with vultures, that hooded vultures and whiteback probably not endangered, but their numbers are definitely going down. They're not improving at the moment, and we think that that's probably due to their collection for traditional medicine, which isn't really a problem. It's not ideal. Here come these two. Oh, I thought they were going to move. They're not. She might be Nestress, of course. And that's why he's following her so closely every time she moves. But Kitty, they do make noises. Mostly they hiss at each other. They make a sort of hissing noise, especially if they're fighting over food. But what I'm going to do is just play the call. And Jeandre, of course, just tracking another hooded vulture. Let me just quickly try and play you. There we go. Beautiful. Wonderful. That's fantastic. That's another hooded vulture. I'm going to play you the call of the hooded vulture. They will have a call. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think it's going to be like listening to a robin, but here it is. That's white-headed. Hang on a sec. I've just got to find him. There he is. So that's the hooded vulture you can hear there. I'm playing it very quietly because I don't want to sort of disturb them and confuse them. That's interesting. I didn't realize it was quite that noisy. Yeah, you can hear that hissing. And then I'll play the white-backed, or white-backed's got a nasty hiss. There. That's the white-backed vulture. That's the sound you normally hear. So not an attractive sound. There's that hiss. Oh, now, Jeandre, can you see that one that just came down? Now what he's doing, he's not anywhere near the buffalo. He's come down onto the ground, I suspect, and you won't believe this, to eat the dung of the lions. Ugh, that's exactly what he's eating. Well, I guess that's why the bush doesn't smell like lion dung everywhere. Oh, doesn't that look nice, Jeandre? Oh, delicious. Yes, I'm not sure I've ever been so close to projectile vomiting in my life. Oh. Isn't he an amazing creature? Here comes another one. This is fantastic. And now the lions are coming down towards them. So just keep on them, Jeandre. I think you'll probably find they'll fly off. Here come the lions. They're behind the vehicle though, so we can't see them. But if they come too much closer, that vulture will fly. Now, this male here is growling again. and the lions have lain down. Anyway, worth watching this vulture. This is the best vulture sighting I've had for a long time. Here comes another one. Right behind the bush there, I'm afraid. Just going to get hold of Aubrey. Go ahead, Orbs. You sure? Orbs, go ahead. I'm just going to try and help Aubrey to get into the sighting, everyone. That is too spectacular, isn't it? Delicious. Oh, lots to eat, eh? Jean-Andre? Yeah. Nothing gets wasted here in the bush, does it? So, Kitty, just back to your question about these vultures. You know, for a very long time, I thought there were lots and lots of vultures, or there were lots and lots of vultures when I started. If something looked like it was going to die, hundreds of vultures would emerge into the air. That's 15 years ago, 16 years ago now, and things have definitely changed. Not sure what we're going to do about it. While I ponder the mysteries of vulture conservation, let's head across to Brent Leo Smith. He has managed to arrive at Arathusa.
So there we go, we're with an African fish eagle that's hunting for catfish in the mud. Oh, there's another one coming in, Vim. Oh, it's a juvenile. You can see the coloration. There we go, we can see the Arathusa waterhole is incredibly dry at the moment. And it's basically a mud hole. And there is a poor hippo that is using the mud to protect himself from the African sun. There we go. And if you look carefully, what looks to be mud all around him is actually catfish that are stuck in the mud. Every now and then you just see a tail flick. There we go, at the base of the hippo's tail there's a catfish moving. It is incredibly dry. You know, the worst drought in South Africa since 1992. Now I'm hoping there's about 5 or 6 fish eagles around us, and I'm hoping some others come down to land. Sorry, I'm just keeping quiet. I thought I heard something down below us here. I can't really make out what it was. Oh, no, I'm not sure what it was. And that fish eagle's taken off, but there's a... Always, I've lost sight of it now. Just move forward a little bit. Incredibly beautiful bird flying above it. I have to wait for him to get a bit closer again. Let's have a look at this poor hippo and the poor catfish trapped in the mud. There we go. You can see not much room to move there. You can see the movement of the catfish behind there. All those things that look like mud are actually catfish. Now some of them will be able to burrow deep into the mud and they'll be able to survive the drought like that. Others might get stuck at the top. Oh, there's a red-breasted swallow. That's the bird we're looking for. Very pretty. Oh, he's coming straight at us. really incredible bird. You love the swallows. Now, I'm going to just sit here and wait and listen for a while. Maybe the fish eagles will come back down. There we go. Fish eagle calling in the distance. Incoming. There we go. Yeah, the fish eagle's calling. Now, sometimes it's quite uncommon to have congregations like this unless there is a sort of drying water source like this. And there you go, listen to them call. Of course now they're being quiet. So from a bird of prey that likes its meal relatively fresh to one that'll even eat dung.
And certainly dung it is eating. That hooded vulture is devouring the great sort of steaming piles of evil-smelling black lion dung that there is all over the place here. It is quite foul in the extreme. Wouldn't you say, Jean-Andre? You're feeling hungry, are you? I'm not sure I'll eat again for the next month. You might just be able to hear them landing there in the trees quite heavily. They don't land lightly like many birds do. They really do thump down onto the trees. This is incredible. He's so close to us now. Now if he comes near this kill, he's going to be in trouble. Now the male lion's got his head up, and that's because he's noticed this vulture coming towards his meal. So they don't mind when they don't have an issue with the vultures consuming their dung. They're not so chuffed when they are not doing that, when they are threatening what is going to be his Sunday supper. With a golden light on them now, and that vulture. And that was not created by any lion movement. That was created by a branch falling off the tree on which another vulture was sitting, and everyone got a fright. Wonderful stuff. And now the lions are back to sleep. Everyone's relaxed. I just wish those cubs would come back down. Jean-Henri, why don't we just try and do a little bit of a maneuver up here? We might be lucky. I suspect we won't be, but let's try. They're just basically everybody over there, behind that jacket plum tree there, I think on the top. So let's just... oh. Apparently we can't move now, sorry everybody. We'll move shortly. We were just a bit worried about losing signal. Becca, I think if our signal's strong, we probably will be okay. I'm just going to get a confirmation from her. She's talking to me now. Okay, we're going to try and move forward. If we do lose signal, then we'll come straight back here. Okay, Brent is doing a Facebook Live thing, so we can't cut to him, and that's why we just need to be a bit more careful of our signal here. It is a slightly dodgy signal area. You're right there, Jean-Ray? Okay, sorry about that, everybody. We had to try. Here come the other lions. I've been saying that many times. They're moving. They'll probably lie down almost immediately. Now, listen to the growl. This male is growling. I don't know why he would be so cross. And then they lie down again. It's bizarre. I'm really not sure why he would be growling like that. Hello Michelle, you're in Johannesburg, watching on a Sunday afternoon, and you want to know, oof, isn't that beautiful? Look at those eyes. Well spotted, Jandri. Very nice. You want to know how many lion kills I've seen from start to finish? Really not that many. I'd say maybe 10. So not that many considering the amount of time that I've spent out here. That's because they largely happen during the night when I'm sleeping in my bed. I also think that lions kill a lot of impala that we don't see, because a pride like this, of course, will devour an impala in less than half an hour. So if they kill something during the night and we don't happen to actually see it, you just find them in the morning looking like they've had a bit of a meal, but you don't actually see it. It's only when they kill animals like this rotting buffalo over here, or a zebra, for example, that you do see them. Amelia, you say, interestingly, I'd love to know why you're asking this question. You say, if we've seen one such kill, is there any educational reason to see it another kill? Amelia, I would say absolutely, because you can't tell everything you want to from watching just one kill. You can't tell exactly what they're... Excuse me, I'm just trying to move so I can see you. You can't tell exactly what the hunting strategy is. You can't tell exactly how they coordinate their kills. There's the other lioness. You see her there? I've just seen her tail flicking there. Jean-Andre can just see her, so he's not going to turn the camera towards her just yet. So now we've got everyone accounted for. Amelia, we don't know what they eat all the time. We don't know how that is that they coordinate their hunts. We don't know how much, we still don't know precisely how much the males are killing, how much they're helping, how much they're eating, how much they're stealing. It varies from lion to lion. Absolutely, it makes a huge difference in the same way that it makes a difference to our educational knowledge of lion behavior, watching them mark territory, for example. It's the same with watching them kill. It tells us something new just about every single time, and that is no better evidence than when we, especially on Safari Live, will give you a fact about something that we've read in a book. We'll watch these animals and they'll behave completely in an opposite way. Completely normal. Happens all the time, but it just shows you that we just don't know everything. So yes, absolutely, hugely valuable to watch as much behavior as we can. In the case of their sleeping, though, they do a lot of that, and we know that they're very good at it. And these two seem to be perhaps a mating pair, moving slowly closer towards the kill, edging towards it. Oof. There was a very large vile looking fly that just landed in these parts, but it's thankfully flown off. And all around us now you can hear the black-headed orioles and the white-browed scrub robins, which I haven't heard from now for many days. And all is complete peace here, and were it not for the profoundly appalling smell in the air, I might nod off myself. It's such a beautiful Sunday. Oh, it's a male. Jean-Andre just spotted the other lion. He's just going to swing the camera around now. I think there are two of them there, Jean-Andre. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you can just see where Jean-Andre is pointing the camera now. You can see the male lion sleeping there. Can you imagine how easy it would be to stand on his tail if he was fast asleep and not flicking his tail like that in such bush? You can see now why lions are the colour that they are. I think that might be... I could have sworn I saw a lioness there earlier, but it might not be. It might just be that male. Let me just move around a bit. Because that is a wonderful picture there, isn't it? Just brilliant of a hooded vulture. We've had some incredible hooded vulture shots today. I quite like him to look at us, Jean-Andre, if you could make him look at us, but preferably not projectile vomit. That would be great. Thank you. Oh, not projectile vomit, but very good. The usual story, as Brian would say. Whenever I see an animal at sea, it feels the need to relieve itself. Gerda, yes, it is really impressive. You say you love that blue line around their eyes. It's certainly more attractive than the lion dung that is covering the lips of that vulture. Yes, very pretty blue line. But imagine having that all over your mouth. Ooh, I mean, they are really... That is the bottom of the pile. When you are forced to eat lion dung for a living, you know that you did something dreadful in a previous life. Well, that vulture doesn't seem to mind. Gazing into the blue sky. Satisfied. Full crop. Nice also that you can see the ear opening there. You see that behind the eye. That is the ear. That's such a cool shot, everybody, and you can see exactly why it's called a hooded vulture. Looks like a... well, it looks like a sort of recalcitrant teenager with a hoodie. That's beautiful. Wow. And just watch the very reptilian membrane going across the eye instead of blinking fully. See that? All the reptiles have got, or many reptiles have got that ability. As interestingly do elephants. They have a membrane that they can push across the eye rather than blinking. This is fantastic. It's listening, you see, and looking, because there are a whole lot of vultures above it. So it's twisting its head up to look. And they're much bigger vultures coming in now. The big white-backed vultures are starting to move in. and they'll wait very patiently for the off chance of picking up some of this buffalo.
No, can't quite get
No, we can't quite get there, I'm afraid. Andre is at quite an angle. Anyway, let's go back to the lions. Right, I think Brent is back online, so what I am going to try and do is drive up the bank a bit, and we will lose signal, but let's see if we can't get into a position there where we can see the cubs. And while we do that, let's go back across to Brent and see what he has managed to find.
So we're exploring the southern end of the Arathusa airstrip. I was hoping to find my friendly neighborhood side-striped jackals. I can't see them just yet. If we get no luck, we're going to start heading back towards Djuma, and hopefully Karula is going to make an appearance in the Mawati. And I'm just checking. It's quite cold this afternoon, so the jackals should be lying out in the sun rather than in the shade. They do move around a bit, so they might not be here today, but I'm really hoping they are. No jackals. How sad. Well, maybe we'll find them tomorrow. Been pushed into very, very narrow strip in the property to the east of us here called Hoffman's, and then that narrow strip of Djuma. And Salahesh, the female leopard's been coming and pushing shadow into a very narrow corridor between her and Karula. So it's going to be really fascinating to see what happens with the female leopard dynamics in the next couple of months. So we haven't seen any tracks. Now, I know James was talking about a little bit earlier that often the books are wrong, and that's quite true. So they're generalizations, but animals don't read books, so they can do whatever they want. And Sarah, hi Sarah. Sarah in the UK is wondering, what's one of the strangest animal experiences I've ever had? And that sort of goes outside of the guidebooks. I think in the savannah, it has to be with cheetah. So there was not much data, and there still isn't much data on cheetah fights. And we saw two coalitions of male cheetah. They fought for 9.5 hours. And take a break, fight again, take a break, fight again. And in most of the books it says, well, cheetahs don't really fight, da-da-da. But those male cheetah went at each other for hours upon hours. Another strange one that I didn't find in any of the guidebooks, although when I was in Gabon it was apparently common knowledge, is that there's a monkey species, a big monkey species, sort of double the size of a vervet monkey, called a red-capped mangabe. Very cool monkey. Now, the red-capped mangabe, I think I might have a photo of one for you here, goes into the mangroves in coastal Gabon, and it actually goes down onto the mangrove roots and picks oysters and feeds off oysters. I found that absolutely incredible. Do I have it on this one? I have it on here. So I found that really, really incredible, that mangabes are going and eating oysters. And we thought we were the only primates that ate oysters. Oh, there we go. I'm sure I've got a picture of a red-capped mangabey somewhere here to show you. There we go. And there's a red-capped mangabey in the mangroves. So on the root of the mangrove, this is during low tide obviously, but they would go up into the deep water and sort of put their arms completely down into the water and rip oysters off the mangrove roots. Very, very pretty monkey, the red-capped mangabey. One of the funniest things I ever saw is those mangabeys, well, they were fishing for oysters. One misjudged a jump. And mangroves are not very strong, and they break quite easily. And there are some monster crocodiles there. And this mangabey misjudged the jump, and it grabbed the branch and it fell into the water. Now, the only way I can describe the look on that monkey's face was complete panic. Now, if a small